All right, well, let's do this. You know him from films like We Were Soldiers, Remember the Titans, Saving Private Ryan, and shows like Sons of Anarchy, and soon to be The Walking Dead. Give it up for Ryan Hurst. Yeah, want to take on this one? That one? Sure. There you go, pal.
Hello.
The entire city of Hamilton knows you've arrived now.
I have arrived.
All right, man. Well, first of all, I guess let's get it out of the way. Are we allowed to talk about anything? No, nothing?
No, nothing.
But you are maybe going to be on the show?
Correct.
Okay.
That's all you get.
That's all we can say?
Yeah.
Okay. Check the internet. There's some maybe things out there, but I don't know. That's all we can say.
A few things, yeah.
That's exciting, though, man. You've done so much in your career. You know, a lot of film, a lot of television. Do you have a preference? Do you like the fast pace of TV? You feeling good to be back in the TV thing, or where do you kind of like to?
I've always enjoyed television more than film. I mean, it's for an actor, it's a little bit of a new medium, because I don't know, 20 years ago there was only maybe a handful of shows that went for more than a couple of years, and now it's sort of a staple that all really sort of successful shows, you know, there's dozens and dozens of shows that will go for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. And for an actor, that's a bit of a new medium. Because when you make a film, you know, you work on it for 3 months and then it's done, you know. And or you're doing a play, it's 6 months and it's done. But to be able to commit to creating something and continue creating something for 10 years, that's I really enjoy that process, because what you start out with and what you end up with can be completely different. You know, to be able to just continue to be investing all of your time and energy and, you know, creative input into one single direction, I really enjoy that part.
Well, it must be great to, you know, work with a character so long that you can see this character really evolve, and you can see it kind of go different ways.
Yeah.
And as an actor, do you have an input over time as you kind of become one with this character? Does that kind of start to steer the path this character a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I mean, any time that you're doing something, especially in television, is, you know, a writer will kind of come up with something, that their idea of a direction of a character, and then inevitably what happens is that the writer and the director start to see what the actor is bringing to it, and what the actor is bringing to the character that maybe they didn't originally see. And then they start to sort of cater towards what the actor is bringing.
Wow. When it came to, you know, let's talk Sons of Anarchy for a second. Any learning curves for you? Or are you kind of at home in that world? Did you ride going into that show, or did you have to kind of get some bike training, or how did that work out for you?
Yeah, no, I actually didn't read the script before I took the job. My manager called me and said, "Would you like to get paid to learn to ride a motorcycle?" And I said, "Yes." I said, "That sounds like very good. It sounds like a good job," because I didn't ride before the show, so they taught me.
Wow. Do you continue to do so afterwards?
Yeah.
You have I guess you have a bike or one or two by this point.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I heard also someone was saying earlier you have a love for dogs too. Is this true? You have like a
I'm a dog trainer, dog whisperer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's really. How long have you been doing that?
I've been doing that for about 7 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. But people say, you know, in the acting world, don't work with dogs or children.
Or me.
Or Ryan Hurst. Is that true with animals? Or are they as difficult as they say? Or I guess you got to know how to work it, right?
No, you have to know how to work it.
What's the key? What's the secrets?
Positive reinforcement. Is everybody thinks that, you know, is any time that you reprimand a dog or punish a dog, that literally you're just making things worse. Is the dog doesn't know what it did wrong. It has absolutely no idea. So the idea is to create an environment where the dog does something that you want it to do. And you do that without words. You do that with, there's lots of different techniques of luring a dog with treats into certain situations. And then when they do the behavior that you want them to do, is that you reinforce it with praise and treats. And that it's just kind of like, if I started talking about things that were purple, you know, if I just was like cabbage, you know, Grover, and then you were like, purple, and then I gave you $500. You'd be like, purple, and I gave you another $500. You'd keep saying purple. It's the kind of the same thing with
It's like
dogs.
how acting works, right?
Pretty much. Pretty much.
You just say that, and then they just go, here you go, here's $500.
That's what it is. And it's very much the same with dogs, is that you just sort of lure them into an environment where they are allowed to choose to do a certain behavior. And then once they do it, you just reward them. And that they start to go, oh, I'll just do these things that give me the things that I want. And I really fell in love with that process.
Oh, that's very cool, man.
Yeah.
Wow, you've really done a lot. You ride, you train dogs, and also your film work is amazing. I actually just recently rewatched Remember the Titans. It always pops on TV. When you see a film that you've done, or maybe a show pop on TV, do you stop down and watch it for a minute and kind of reminisce, or do you just like to nah, I don't want to see that?
For the old stuff, yeah, sure. If it's something that I've recently done, the suspension of disbelief is just broken. I'm just like, I don't, if it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I'll go like, I'll watch it because I've forgotten all about it. But if it's something recent, all I'll remember is it was hot, I was tired. I'm not going like, oh, what's going to happen next? I'll just remember there was no bathroom.
What craft had that day?
Correct.
So if anyone out there has never seen any of the films that you've been in, where do they got to start? For you, what's that movie that stands out for you? Where should they start?
Oh, I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
Remember the Titans?
Yeah, sure.
Saving Private Ryan?
Yeah, those are good.
I mean, Saving Private Ryan must have been a special project for you to work with that team on that film. Must have been amazing.
Yeah, that was one of my first ones.
Especially to start there. That's incredible.
Yeah, that was fun.
Any particular memories from that one? Was it? I mean, the film has a certain look to it. Did it have that feeling on set as well? Was it as gritty as it looked?
No, that was one of those. Honestly, was just one of those. The strangest things. I auditioned for it in Los Angeles, and they called me later that afternoon and said, "Can you get on a plane today?" To fly to England, to just outside of England, where they were already shooting. And I said, yeah, sure. And I got on a plane and flew over there, and I had a beard and long hair at the time, and shaved my beard and shaved my hair, and literally rushed me straight from the airport to the makeup trailer to the set. And I got to the set, and there was 2,500 background artists there, and then I see Steven Spielberg running towards me, and I'm like 20 years old, and I'm like, half jet lagged, going like, am I hallucinating all of this? I don't understand. And he came up and he said, hey, you want to go have lunch? And I said, yeah, sure. And so I sat down with, because I'm a huge cinephile. I just, I adore movies. And we sat there and just talked movies over lunch, and then went and shot my scene. It went well. And then he said to me, you're done now. And I said, yeah. And he said, how long did they have you staying here for? I said, another 10 days. And he said, well, why don't you come and hang out? So then for like another 9 days, it was script supervisor, Steven Spielberg, me, and I just got to sit there and sort of absorb watching him do what he does, Wow. And then like the one pinch me sort of moments was, as I was saying goodbye on the last day, he was just like, I just got to tell you, you remind me so much of Orson Welles. And I was just like, did Steven Spielberg just call me like Orson Welles? I was like, it's like hitting a hole in one and no one's there. It's like, did somebody see that? Nobody saw it. Okay. So.
Anything that stood out to you about his process, like watching him work for so long? Anything that really took you?
It's like watching one of the master Dutch painters. Everything, he makes it look so easy. I mean, he does enormous amounts of homework, has all of his, everything is storyboarded to the nth degree. But he's totally free to just improvise with what he has in front of him. He is, he's a student of the craft, so. Yeah.
You mentioned that you had to shave for that one, and also in Remember the Titans, you had the clean cut. So is that is this the natural Ryan look?
The natural state, Ryan in its natural state, correct.
So when you did then Sons of Anarchy, you were able to finally embrace that.
Yeah.
That must have felt good.
It was great.
You're like, I don't have to shave?
Correct.
Sign me up.
Yes.
Learning to ride a motorcycle was a bonus at that point, Well, we have a ton of fans out here today. A lot of people came here to see you, so let's get to some audience questions, and I'll do my best to try to repeat them back, because I know it's kind of hard to hear with the Star Wars show happening back there. So if you could stand up, and when I throw to you, and then I'll try to repeat the question, and then we should be all set. So if you have a question, let me know, and let's start with you right there. So go ahead. Yeah, if you could stand up, be great. Is that a pre? You asked about another show? Oh, a prequel. If a prequel was in the works or a plan, would that be something you'd be into?
Yeah, we've talked about that a little bit. I mean, it's years away, but there's this idea that they're going to do a one-off, sort of basically a mini-series of the first 9, which is sort of the founding of the Sons of Anarchy. And I'd be interested in playing Piney, my Opie's father. I think that'd be fun. To show that. I didn't hear what she said.
No, sorry.
No
Other
movies.
films? Oh.
No films right now. No.
Yeah.
No, I'm shooting, doing Walking Dead, and then I'm on a show called Bosch, which is on Amazon. And then there's a show on Showtime coming out called Queen Fur, which I'll be doing also. So I've been doing all of those.
Cool. Wait, did you just say you're on The Walking Dead? What?
Yeah, I know.
That's all we can say, though. We already went over that.
It.
That's all we can say. Talking about Sons, though, did you have to did you have to learn a lot about kind of taking on this culture and playing a character like this? Did you do any research into that world as well?
I mean, as much as I could, I hung out with some club guys up in San Francisco, and then some of the people involved with the show were club guys also. And then I obviously read Hunter S. Thompson's Hell's Angels and did as much as I can. But yeah.
Cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Other questions? Put your hands up if you have a question. We will throw to you. Yeah.
Hands up. Hands up.
Right over here.
Nothing? Really?
Go ahead.
Terrible. She's a horrible human being. Next? No, I'm kidding.
Ron Perlman. Yeah.
Even worse.
Oh. Okay, well that was
Little
a quick
did you
one.
know, Katie Segal and Ron Perlman, the same person. Batman and Bruce Wayne. You'd never know it. They're never in the same scene together, or it's just all smoke and mirrors, buddy. No, they're both
There
great.
you go. Update the IMDb
fantastic.
trivia now. Okay, let's go over there. Yeah, in the green jacket. Yep, go ahead. What's it like to be in the Walking Dead series? Well, I mean, we can't really say much about that.
I can't even tell you, dude.
Yeah.
I'd have to kill you. Look, he's so incredulous. He's like this. What did he say?
I don't know. What was that, sorry? Oh,
All
he's
right,
gonna
come
back
back
and kill
and
you
kill
when
me.
he's
Yeah,
dead.
sure. You go ahead and try, buddy.
Now, I know we can't talk about The Walking Dead, but this is the thing everyone likes to do once in a while when you watch shows like that is you think about what you would do in a zombie apocalypse. Do you have if you would survive, if you have a plan? Is this something that you've thought about in the past? How do you think you would fare if this
I'd go to a
happened?
dentist first.
Okay.
Because nobody's thinking about their teeth. There's an apocalypse going to come. What are you going to do within a zombie apocalypse if you have no teeth?
This is true.
Yeah, that's my weird answer. Live with it.
Go to a dentist. Okay, let's go over to you in the front here. Yeah, go ahead. Nice and loud. Which episode did you like the most of Sons of Anarchy?
I loved any episode with Chucky in it. I'm so happy that he's back in the Mayans too. I love it. He's one of my favorite human beings. He's one of my favorite characters. I love Michael, who plays Chucky.
Cool.
It's good, man. It's good. It's a good show.
Amazing.
Really
Well,
good.
let's go over to you and the coat right there. Go ahead, nice and loud.
Yeah, a lot of I'd say 80% of Opie's wardrobe was mine. Was just that I just sort of brought to the set.
Did you end up taking anything home maybe at the end of the day, considering the wardrobes were similar? Did anything that maybe the production brought that you're like, I'm going to keep that?
Just my cut.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
That's it.
Amazing. Okay, let's go to you in the black hat. Go ahead. Yeah, what are you watching right now if you're a big cinema movie TV buff? What are you watching?
I mean, movies. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of great things that I'm like over the moon on lately. I mean, the kind of the films that I always love the most are sort of auteur-driven things, like Wes Anderson, Paul Thomas Anderson. You know, really sort of people who have a narrative style that they really sort of stick to. In terms of shows, what am I watching right now? I just saw the second season of Ozark, which I don't know, which is great. What else was I watching? I thought that Maniac, I watched that. That was a little too kind of like weird for the sake of being weird. It was a little bit like being on ecstasy inside of an Apple store. You know, it just kind of didn't really make sense. You know, but there's so much great content out there right now. But those are the two things I've seen most recently.
Is there a show or film that you love that you'd be embarrassed to maybe admit that you love?
Not embarrassed, I mean, because I love these guys. I'm friends with them now. But I will watch, I don't care, I will watch it over and over. Impractical Jokers is like one of my favorite shows.
Yeah.
I absolutely, is me and a friend of mine bought me a ticket to one of their live shows, and I went to their live shows, and then somehow ended up backstage at one of the after parties, and Q and I just like buddied up and became like great friends. So we're like texting each other all the time. So yeah,
That's amazing.
I love those guys.
You got to watch your background guys like that, though. You never know what's
I know,
you're going to be
dude.
like on an episode. Like, you want to hang out? You're like, no. Can I check for cameras first? All right, we had some questions in the back, but I think we're going to have a hard time hearing you. So can you yell or come up closer? Okay, go ahead.
Bates Motel was one of the most fun jobs I'd ever done. They offered me this role, and they said, "Look, we want you to play this biker," and I was like, "No." And they said, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, you know, one of my favorite sort of aspects of every Hitchcock film is the way that Hitchcock sort of deals with the themes of ambiguity. Is that you never really have a good guy or a bad guy, with the exception of maybe like Rear Window, but is that the ability to navigate ambiguity is one of the things that I like most about all of his films. And so I was like, I'd love to portray a character where you never know how to feel about this guy. You don't know whether you're supposed to be scared or laugh at him or feel sorry for him. And they kind of didn't get it at the beginning. And I said, just let me do whatever I want. And a couple episodes in, you'll get it. And they were like, okay. So I dressed him really, really strangely, and I started sort of improvising a lot of this dialogue that really didn't make a lot of sense. And then they were like, oh, we get it. He's just weird. And I was like, yeah. And then they started to write towards that. And I had the most fun. You know, out of all the characters that I've ever done, like when I read that they were killing him off, I was like, I was like, no, not yet. There's so much more to do with this guy, you know. But that was one of the most fun jobs I've ever had.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much. I think you had a question. Did you have a question? Yeah, go ahead. Right there in the hat. Yep. Oh, advice for someone who's getting into acting. What do you got?
Don't do it. That's all. I mean, that's kind of you have to pass that firewall of a test, as everyone will tell you, don't do it. And if you continue to do it, if you've decided that this is what you're going to commit your life to, there's no advice that I can give you. You know what I mean? It's like the only thing that I would say is look at it as a marathon, that this is going to be 25 years of your life. You know, and to stay true to that. There's going to be months, there's going to be years that you are not going to work, and that is part of the process. And you're going to think, oh my God, I suck. Oh my God, I don't know what to do. And understand that you know, the mind games that come along with that is also part of the process. It's just like, you know, running a marathon when you're mile 6, and you're like, oh my God, I got 20 more miles to go. And what? Yes, that's part of the process. Just keep going. And if you're willing to endure all of that going into it, then you're built for this. And if you're like, no way, I want a job tomorrow, yeah, don't do it. That makes sense?
Cool.
Yeah.
Is there a trick to surviving the lulls and the in-betweens? Is there a way of kind of like what do you kind of how do you handle it?
Always have something else to do.
Yeah.
Always have, and I mean that like, not so much monetarily, because sometimes it's good to struggle monetarily, but is like, you have to have something else that really brings you joy and contentment, because like, you prepare, you go and you audition for something, and then you have to have, while you're waiting, you have to have something else to do, to actively do that fulfills you, because if not, it's just, the process will just suck you dry. It'll make you like just hollow. You really have to have something else that you are proactively in control of that sort of fulfills you.
Ride bikes, train dogs. This is where I.
Yeah.
There you go.
I've been a Kundalini yoga instructor for 5 years.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Very cool. All right, we have a lot more questions here, so let's go. Yeah, let's go to you right in the front here. Nice and loud. Oh, filming the last episode of Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, that was just like a love fest. It was just an absolute love fest. I mean, it was heartbreaking, but it was like, I really can't even go into it because it was just so emotional. But it's like after my very last shot, the guys all, like, the entire cast came and bear hugged me, and we were all sweating and crying. And then, I don't even know how to, it gives me goosebumps still when I talk about it, but it's the entire crew, okay, went over to the walls of the theater, of the soundstage. This is 100 to 200 people, and start banging on the walls for 5 minutes straight, and screaming and cheering as this big like lump of hairy bikers are all sitting there crying together. And it was just like, it was like a proper Viking funeral. It was just otherworldly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, let's go to you. What's your question? Do you have any dogs?
I have 9 dogs. Don't tell anyone. They will come for them.
If they were cats, that's unacceptable. For some reason, dogs, it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why that exists. Okay, we had another question. I just saw a hand go up. Yeah, let's go to the back corner. So go ahead, nice and loud. Favorite Bates Motel episode?
I would say something in that 3rd season with all that stuff with Kenny Johnson, because Kenny's one of my favorite. Him and I are like best friends in real life. So I mean, it's hard to say. Something that in that 3rd season, when he beat the hell out of me, that was fun. That was a fun episode to shoot. I'm not sure. They were all fun. They were all a lot of fun.
Cool. All right, another question. I saw another hand go up somewhere in the middle there. Yep, go ahead, nice and loud. The tattoo, how did they apply that tattoo on your back for Sons of Anarchy?
Oh, we all got them in real life. No. It's just a big, it's like the little things that you get out of a gumball machine. It's just a big sticker that you put on, and you put, a sponge on it, and you peel it off and it stays there. But instead of, like in a gumball machine, they'll use like a real low-level type of glue. They'll use like a medical adhesive when they put them on your back. So they'll stay there. You can go in the shower and try to scrub them off, and they'll stay there for 2-3 weeks. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
All right, we had some more questions. I saw. Okay, let's go over to you. If you survived, what kind of president do you think you would have been?
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. I didn't write the show. Don't ask me those kind of questions. I don't know. What do you think Opie would have been like if he had the gavel? Yeah. Sounds good to me.
Cool. We have another question. Yeah, right over here. Nice and loud.
No, is one of the things as an actor is that you have to look for the commonalities between people. A lot of people ask me, the Sons of Anarchy, they were such bad guys, and I was like, yeah, but that's what the process is. The fun part as an actor is that you have to look for what makes them relatable. It's easy to walk through this life and say, oh, I'm a man, or I'm a woman, or I'm a doctor, or I'm a son, or I'm a Christian, or I'm a Muslim, or I'm a Sikh, or, those are all divisive elements of ways to separate us. And as an actor and also as a human being, you have to look for the things that unify us. And that's, part of the artistry of being an actor is you look for these sort of common threads of what makes humans humans, and that you sort of highlight those and bring those out. And when you do that, and when you do that successfully, that's what people resonate with. And that's what at least that's what I try to do. No, I turn down roles all the time. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, man. More questions. Let's go to you. You had your hand up for a while. Go ahead, nice and loud.
Who's talking?
Right there on the wall. Sorry, what was that? Can you maybe come? What was on his mind when his character got killed? Wife. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When your wife, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good acting. It was just good acting, man. Yeah, originally they had written. They told me when I accepted the role. They said, your character is going to die at the end of this season, of the first season, and I said, okay, that's fine. And then they started to premiere the show, and the head of the network said, oh, we'd like to keep your character around and switch it to have your wife die. And I was like, that's fine too. Yeah, but what went through my mind is you just put yourself in that scenario is if somebody, you really love passed away tragically.
Do you ever shoot a scene that's kind of tough to shake at the end of the day that you kind of sticks with you, or not
No,
really?
no. I kind of always sort of leave it all on the field, so to speak, because I don't really sort of take it home with me.
Cool.
Yep.
All right, we had some more questions, so let's go. Yeah, right here in the hat. Go ahead. That's like a two-parter, but two different parts. First of all, what music are you listening to?
All kinds of music. What's he say?
What's that like what's that? Oh, like classic rock. More of a jazz guy, you wouldn't think it.
Yeah. Smooth jazz
Yeah.
all the time, baby. Smooth jazz. Elevator music, pumping. And in terms of roles, no, I really can't think of a role that I've turned down that I've gone, oh, I shouldn't have turned that down. And to be completely honest, like anytime that I haven't gotten something that I've gone to see, I've gone like, oh yeah, they went the right way. I haven't ever seen something where I was like, I would have done it better than that guy. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much. Did you have a question in the back? Or is that you? Did you have one? No? Yes? Yes. Okay. Most difficult scene you've ever filmed throughout your career, do you recall? And how did you get through it? She had asked.
I don't know. It's not what you would think. As an actor, people would say like, oh, was it hard to film the scene where Opie died, or those are the easiest scenes to film. Is the hard scenes are when it's like bad writing. When the scene, when you really earn your money as an actor is when a scene just kind of doesn't work and nobody knows exactly why it doesn't work. It's like those are the hardest scenes to film because you're just trying to figure it. It's like trying to start your car and you're like, God, I don't know. Is it the alternator? Is it out of gas? Like what? And that's part of the process that it's the most, you really sort of earn your money when you're just trying to get the thing to work. but I don't. I can't really recall one that sticks out as this was the hardest one to film.
Cool. We have time for just a couple more questions. I think you had your hand up for a while. What is your question? Who's your favorite superhero?
Who's my favorite superhero? I mean, Old Faithful is just Superman. I have a Superman tattoo. Superman. I was all about Superman when I was a little kid. Before that, whether you could call him a superhero or not was Popeye. Popeye was the original Superman to me. And then after that I'm a fan, comic book wise. There's a wonderful comic that I love called Concrete, which is a graphic novel. Does anybody know that? No. Oh, he does. He does. But I love that comic book.
So you're kind of into this world in a way too.
Oh,
When you come
yeah.
to these comics. What do you do if you have free time? Do you shop around? Do you
A little bit here
Yeah.
and there.
What are you looking for?
I'm a little bit of everything, baby.
By the way, I'm very distracted. There's been beard hairs collecting in the microphone as we've been going.
We're selling it on eBay later.
That microphone's going straight online. All right, we had a question in the back. I think I saw that someone. Okay. Oh yeah, go right there. So go ahead.
Too long.
Oh, favorite role.
I'll have to give you the answer that I give all the time. It's just my favorite role is always the next one. You know, if I've already done it, I've already done it. I'm always looking forward to the next thing. So it's always what I'm doing next.
Let's talk about your next role some more.
Yeah, we can't do that. All right.
Okay. All right, you never asked the question yet. Go ahead. What kind of bike do you ride?
I mean, I have 3 bikes, but the one that I ride the most is just a dyno, just like on the show.
Cool. All right, we have time for just a couple more. So yeah, go ahead. You haven't asked my question yet. Go ahead.
You're talking about with Norma's body? No, that was her. No, that was her. That was makeup, and that was her. And I'll tell you, if you want to talk about hard acting, don't breathe and don't blink. You're earning your money that day, boy. Is going through 8 hours of makeup and then long 5-page scenes where you don't get to breathe or blink. Yeah, that's hard, dude.
Yeah, when it comes to shooting a lot of scenes, sometimes you're asked to do some pretty ridiculous things. Any weird skills you've had to learn? Like sometimes, maybe it's a shot that involves you like throwing a piece of trash in a garbage can, so you got to like practice that. Any like weird things that you've had to learn for a scene?
I'll tell you, it was maybe 15 or so years ago, is this, which is very totally commonplace now, but is, when I first started in this business, it was called acting. You would act like, you knew how to do something. And now they're like, oh yeah, you have a fight scene in this thing, so you're gonna go to 8 months of fight training. It's like, what? I can't tell you how many for Remember the Titans, we did 6 weeks of 2-a-day, football camp. I was just like, for what? It's like, I played football in high school, I don't need to do this again. Is anytime that there's any gunplay in anything, it's like, oh, we need you to go to 8 hours a day of gun training for 6 months. I know how to shoot a gun. Let's put the camera there. Let's go. But that's part of the. Sometimes that's part of the fun. When you get to do wire work or you get to do kung fu training or weapon training, sometimes it's fun, and sometimes you're just like, oh gosh. But nothing really strange. It's
just like the small things too that are like they may seem easy, but they're actually challenging to like nail in a take.
Yeah, like what? What are you thinking?
I've had people they tell me stories all the time, like they got to like put their coat on really fast and like zip it up, and then and you're like, gotta do that again, gotta do that again, and you gotta practice like putting your jacket on, which seems ridiculous, but
yeah, no, the only thing that I can think about that is when on like Sons, when there would be some shot where all of us would be running from indoors to outdoors, and then we would have to like run, all put on our helmets, all start our bikes, and then sort of pull out, in formation. It was just like, it looks really easy, and it's because we shot it 45 times. Of like, oh, so-and-so dropped his helmet, start again.
No.
So.
Cool, awesome. We have time for a couple more questions, so let's go to you. Go ahead. You had to be on one show. What show would it be?
Stranger Things. Next.
Good answer. All right, let's do like 2 more questions we have time for. So, yeah, I think we got... Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Would you open to play a superhero, like maybe even Popeye?
Hell yeah.
Yeah?
Absolutely. It's not that funny, buddy.
Yeah. Do you have like a dream role? Like there's something like, is there a character out there that you're like, oh man, I want this so bad?
No, I've loved comic books since I was little, and I haven't seen anything that I was like, oh, I have to play so and so. But yeah.
They got to do another Popeye movie at some point, right?
Yeah.
Am I right? All right, let's go. You had the Empire Strikes Back shirt. Last question. Go ahead, man. What's your opinion on playing a villain? And are you opposed to wearing a costume? Opposed? Okay. I don't know.
What kind of question is that, man? Everybody knows that villains are the most fun to play. Hands down. Always the most fun. A costume, we're all, the clothes that you're wearing right now, it's a costume. All clothes are a costume. Of course, wearing a cape, only certain people can pull off a cape. I'll give you that much. But costumes are awesome, dude.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, sir. It's been
Thank
so
you
good
guys.
talking
Thank you
with
guys.
you. Ryan Hurst,
All right.
everybody.
Thank you for watching the Convention Junkies coverage of the 2018 Hamilton Comic Con. Please like, comment and subscribe to see more, and let us know below what you think of this video. If you would like to help us with future projects, please visit our Patreon page.